No
Okay,
long-winded,
right.
and here is why Home Alone is the greatest.
Oh, you've taken it out of my mouth?
I just watch it with my kids. Are you kidding me? We're here with the head coach and general manager of Cavalry FC, Tommy Wheeldon Jr. My name's Ryan Pinder. It's been a while since you've had a chance to catch up with the fans. Mid-September, the Island Games was the last we heard from you on a regular basis. Take us back to the pandemic tournament.
Yeah, I think it's been a while since it seems a while since it's finished, but I think we're thankful that we got to play. I think in a year which has brought a lot of craziness, we got to play the game we love in a safe manner. So, I mean, from that it was a positive. From the outcomes that we had there, it was challenging. And, one that we've had time to reflect on and, meeting with the technical staff and our ownership group on, what went well for us, what can we improve on, and how can we move forward.
I saw a note from one of the staff here. You've played around a dozen games in the last 500 days. That doesn't seem fair for players, and I imagine for someone like yourself, we know how hard coaches work, that's got to be just maddening at times. You want to be able to get your hands on the clay, but you haven't had much of that opportunity to be on the pitch with your players.
Well, I think sometimes when you look at results, you have to take context into it. So what we worked out was when the last game we played on here, November 2nd, 2019, to let's presume that we kick off at the middle of April in the regular season in 2021, that's over 500 days. And in that time, we'll have played 10 actual matches. So from a development standpoint, it's tough. From a competitive standpoint, it's tough. And these are professional athletes that, how they earn their money is by competing, by training. Yeah. So we have to be conscious of that. So anytime we're making decisions on how we move forward, we also have to know how we bridge the gap. So this is one of the most challenging experiences that we've had, but we're not alone in this. There's other industries out there that, the frontline workers are going through things a lot worse than what we are. But from a development of professional football in this country, we have to take those into consideration as we move forward.
And so you didn't have the massive success you would have wanted. Mm-hmm. You didn't win the tournament. Yeah. You played well. You got to that Final Four. And knowing athletes and knowing coaches, you want to get right back at it. Mm-hmm. And now you wait. And it was waiting to get to those. You're waiting again. But the good news is you've got some core signings to announce. Let's get into those. You've brought back some familiar names and some really important parts to this team and your culture as well.
Yeah, and I think that's it. I mean, we wanted to go out and win the Island Games because it was our, after losing the final here, that stung, and then the delay in the season stung. Now we're going to have to get through this other time, but it makes us stronger, and part of what makes us strong is our resilience. And you've seen that with the number of injuries we had. No excuses. We just moved on, and we're one game away from being in back-to-back finals. So, as we move forward into 2021, we knew it was about core pieces. And we had a very easy strategy when it said, right, we want to retain, we want to then look at who we can afford to release, and then we recruit. So it was about secure the core first and foremost. I think we did that. We looked after who our leadership group is. They're the ones that are so important inside the locker room that, maybe as a coaching staff or a general manager, I can't have that effect on them on the day-to-day habits, what they do. And then, some exciting pieces. When you look at, say, if you look at Mason Trafford compared to, say, a Marco Carducci and Elijah Adekubi and Sergio Camargo, they're still entering their prime years, and they're an important part that have been here since day one. So the fact that we've been able to secure them, as well as the exciting youngsters that we call them, in Mo Farsi, who had a great tournament, Elliot Simmons, who we thought was very, very good as well, and young Jose Hernandez, that had it not been for a couple of injuries, he'd have had an impact too. His pre-season leading up to it, we saw what Mo Farsi did. We saw similar traits in Jose Hernandez. So we're excited to see if next year is his season.
So do you have a philosophy when you talk about core players and building a team? Is there an area of the field, is there a direction you want to go? I know for other sports there's adages. Is it the net out? Is it from the middle to the flanks? Or do you sort of view it differently in terms of people that can impact the game in a bigger way, not necessarily positionally?
Spine. I think we talk about in football the spine, which is your central players from your keeper, your defenders, your centre midfielders and your centre forward. So if you get your spine right, you can add on the outsides and you can add as a supporting around it. So, with Marco Carducci, who's got one of the most promising goalkeepers, who was Golden Glove in 2019, and He's been in and around the Canadian national setup as a result of it. He's a great professional. And then, like I said, with Mason Trafford in there and Elijah, Sergio Camargo up there, and then you add with your Farsis, your Simos and Jose Hernandez. These are nice pieces. I can build a team around that. So it doesn't matter if we don't sign anyone else, from the original group, or we do. That's a core that we think, right, this will make us a very threatening team.
And you talk about leadership, and you're a guy that I've always loved chatting with because you're so into culture. You love getting your paws on all kinds of leadership books, culture books. It doesn't have to be anything about soccer necessarily. Maybe give me a thing or two about a few of those guys and the tone they can set or have set, because we've talked about the importance of Ledgerwood in the past, but there's other guys in that group that have played some big-time soccer and some guys that have played in some big spots internationally, prominent leagues, things like that.
Well, it's values. It's about the ability always catches the eye, but it's the attitude that gets you through the door at our place, and I think that's what's been true with those guys. So why Nick Ledgerwood's wore the armband for us, from the first 2 years, is because he's that guy. Like, it's, what he adds on the pitch is only part of why he's the club captain. It's what he adds off the pitch as well. The intangibles of he's a player that I played with when he was 16, 17. He left this country because we didn't have a Canadian Premier League and has returned to pay it forward. So he's closing his football chapter on both sides, which is great. And he adds value to the young guys as they're learning to be professionals. And when you add your Mason Traffords around to him, and then your Marco Carducci's and Elijah's, suddenly these guys have great values. And also part of those values is a winning mentality. And winning just isn't about the scoreline. It's about being in early for training. It's being first on the pitch, last off it. It's about eating right. They all have these winning values that all add up in these marginal gains that we're massive about. We won more league games than anyone else in 2019. Even with a squad that was depleted with injuries, we won the second most amount of games at the Island Games. And that's because these intangibles add up. You give us a healthy roster and a bit of flair around that, and we'll be there or thereabouts competing again, because we like to have that winning mentality, and we don't hide away from that.
All right, let's do a little word association. I say something and
sure.
Or give you a quick question, you give me a quick answer. I want you to be quick. No, no long-winded. Right. And here is why Home Alone is the greatest. What is your favorite?
You're taking out my mouth now.
I just watch it with my kids. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So what is the greatest?
Home Alone.
It is, yeah.
Is that 2 words?
No, that's good. Okay, it's not word association. You're allowed to complete your sentence. That's fine.
Thank you.
Your guilty holiday pleasure?
Toblerone.
I was going to say, there's a lot of chocolate around.
Chocolate and tea. Magnificent. Toblerone.
Swiss chocolate, isn't it?
Oh, it's fantastic.
Right.
Dip it in. You can add it with a fondue. It's versatile.
I like that. Holiday fruit cake?
Nah.
Thumbs down. Okay. They keep getting regifted. I feel like there's a lot of people.
It's like, it's there and it's there. It's off the table. It's on. It's thank you, and it's a blind pass.
Last year.
Yeah. Why is it in the snack drawer in summer?
Top soccer player in the world right now?
Ronaldo.
Really?
Sorry.
He knows I'm a Barcelona fan.
Just keep scoring 750 goals.
Yeah, it's true. You get a 10-minute soccer lesson. Whose brain do you want running?
Oh, easy. Sir Alex Ferguson.
Okay. Wow. Still.
Just incredible what he achieved over generation after generation.
Number of teams in the CPL in 8 years, 2028. So we'll have gotten through the World
14.
Cup in North America.
14 I'm going with.
14.
Favorite number, but also, maybe that's probably a little conservative, but 14's a good number. I think it's an achievable number.
How many more rows stack them up? What do you do with
everywhere?
This? Yeah, okay. Good. Okay, another one for you here. If you have to give up one, no more swearing during matches, or no more middle of the summer sunny day soccer.
Oh, can't give up swearing. I'll give up the sun for the swearing.
Really?
I always swore at the fact I had to give up the swearing.
I always thought that the way you dressed, that always made up for it.
Yeah.
The nicer you dressed, like one more cuss word for every accessory you had.
It's why, Peaky Blinders or the Goodfellas, they get away with murder.
Yeah, that's right.
That's where the saying comes from, because they're dressed, he can't have done it, he's wearing a shirt and tie.
One word message to soccer youth in this country. You talked about the challenges facing youth soccer.
Play. And I mean that by, it is still a game, so whether it's in your basement playing against the wall, or whether it's with a mate or a parent, just play. It's a game.
one word or message to the Cavs regiment, those foot soldiers, your hardcore fans?
Charge.
Charge.
Into the future. That's all we can look at now. We're planning for the future. Just keep coming with us. Charge.
I like it. We'll be back with more with Tommy throughout the off season as we're catching up on a beautiful off season day. We can play. You bring your gear?
Yeah. Or golf. Which one?
Yeah. I'm better at golf. More with Tommy as the off season continues.